Yiggy yay, welcome back to Influence Wars, where we expose who is fighting to own your attention online, how they stand to benefit, and how you can remain digitally sober. I am your host, Anti-Prophet, and today's topic is Pearl Davis, as well as her opinions on what we're going to call 0F in this video, so that I don't get demonetized. So when it comes to 0F, this has been the internet's favorite punching bag over the last couple of years, and no one is milking it harder than the red pill crowd because it's a divisive topic, regardless of which side of the debate you're on. If you think that it's a good thing or that it's a bad thing, it's something that will always get views, and as a result, it's going to be something that people continue to talk about, albeit with diminishing returns, because the more you talk about it, the less people give a shit. So, all that being said, let's take a look and see what Pearl has to say about 0F.
Found out 1.4 million women in America do OnlyFans. 1.2 million is between 18 and 24. What percent of women, how many women in America are between 18 to 24? I find out roughly 10 million women. So just on OnlyFans alone, 10% of women in that age group are on OnlyFans. So there's only 10 million women between 18 to 25. Then I decided to think more about the consumers. Who is consuming OnlyFans? And I found out that 82 million American men subscribe to OnlyFans. Now, to think about how big that number is, how many people are in America? 165 million men are in the United States. And they're telling me that 82 million out of 162 million are subscribed to OnlyFans. Of the 82 million men subscribed to OnlyFans, 90% are married. 87% of OnlyFans users are male, and 68% of OnlyFans users are white. So the average OnlyFans customer is a white married man.
All right, so why is this clip popping off right now? Because again, 0F is not new. It's always been controversial. But in this moment, it's become more than just a debate about S-work. It's being used as emotional proof that the entire system around us in society is broken. For people on the right, it is the perfect scapegoat because they can point to it and say, see, this is why liberalism has failed, and this is what liberalism has done to our women, our values, our country. And once you believe that, once you feel that decay that you can point at whenever you see a video about 0F, it becomes easier to justify extreme solutions in society because those extreme solutions are coming to save society from the moral rot that is destroying it. And when I say that, I'm talking about things like giving up on democracy, like supporting leaders who promise to burn the whole system to the ground and rebuild it in their image. The video that we just watched is not just content anymore. It's a trigger. It is an emotional shortcut to outrage and justification. Now, on the flip side, defenders of 0F frame 0F as women's liberation, as a sign that women are finally in charge, that they've escaped the patriarchy and claimed their independence. In the case of this video, there are two primary parties we need to take a look at. Party number one is Pearl Davis herself, and party number two is the repost account RubyDoo on X. So, party number one, Pearl Davis. If you have spent any amount of time on the internet over the last couple of years, especially in the red pill ecosystem, you've probably seen Pearl's face. She was one of the most prominent figures to rise out of the post-pandemic manosphere explosion right around 2021 into 2022 when Ragebait content about gender roles, dating, and Western decline became a full-blown content economy. And, you know, I gotta give her credit where credit is due because Pearl has insane reach. Her YouTube channel has 1.98 million followers. Her Facebook has 89K. Her Instagram has 14K because she keeps getting banned. She supposedly has a TikTok, but that's been banned as well. And I would say her main platform is probably her X account, which has 462,000 followers. And then she's on Rumble as well. And that is the kind of growth that doesn't happen by accident. She cracked the code early in the niche's existence. Pearl isn't just a commentator. She's a business model. And that model depends entirely on staying provocative enough to drive views, because without those views, her entire system collapses. She has been banned from Instagram several times, which is why her Instagram has 14,000 followers now. It's a new account. Her TikTok is gone. Her YouTube was restricted and was not able to make money for 6 months. And when you take a look at her engagement for a channel that has 2 million followers, the amount of views that she's getting on this channel aren't that great. 11K, 63K, 27K, 100K. Not the greatest engagement. And again, the only way that she can stay relevant here is if she continues to say things that are completely outrageous. Because when it comes down to it, YouTube ad revenue doesn't really like this type of content, which means that she's making significantly less than other content creators who are getting similar views, but in different niches like makeup or normal reaction channels or business channels. She's probably making somewhere in the realm of $1 to $3 per 1,000 views, which is nothing when it comes to YouTube. And again, this is why I say her main platform is likely X, because she's able to post really inflammatory shit over here and still get paid to do it. If you look at her Rumble, like, again, these are not that great of numbers. She's not making a lot of money on Rumble, which has even lower payouts than YouTube at the end of the day. So in terms of her business model, what is left? There are 3 things that I would say she depends on. The first is, as I said, monetizing views through whatever platform will still pay her. Number 2, creating and selling digital products on her website. And number 3, building a streaming platform called the Audacity Network and trying to get people to subscribe. So let's talk about the Audacity Network. This is a site that is marketed like every other anti-woke, we're building our own culture media project. Dramatic branding, vague promises, as well as a $9.99 monthly subscription fee that gives you access to all of the shows that you have available on the site, which I think in her case is like 4 shows, all of which star Pearl. But here's the catch. That subscription doesn't include her other digital products that she sells. For example, she sells a digital course for $97 called How to Make People Feel Comfortable, which she says is based on her interviewing skills. Now, a course designed to help presumably incels feel more comfortable talking to women is a really incoherent business strategy. Like, the type of entertainment content that she puts out online does not line up with a course on how to make people feel comfortable. It's literally the opposite of what she does. And then from here, there is also Pearl's consulting offer, which gives you the ability to meet with Pearl for 30 minutes for only $500, where she'll help you build your YouTube channel or give you life advice. And look, I get it. I've been exactly where Pearl is. When your content no longer converts into meaningful attention that you can convert into revenue, you start pitching whatever you can to your audience. You lean into whatever part of your identity seems monetizable. But let's be honest here. There's zero chance anyone's actually going to pay her $1,000 an hour for insight. It's a placeholder offer, a signal the business that she is working on is pretty much dead. Now, something else that I picked up from her Audacity Network website is that she's also hiring a salesperson to find brand deals. But again, if we take a look at her actual YouTube channel, I went through all of these videos that you see here on your screen. And the thing that I noticed is that not a single one of these videos or any of these live streams has an advertiser. And the reason for that is because advertisers don't want to put their product next to a Pearl Davis video, because who in their right mind would spend money trying to reach broke, furious incels with no purchasing power? Like, no one. The audience doesn't convert, and that's why brands don't put their ads in front of content creators like Pearl, because not only will they not sell anything, but it makes their company look worse as a result. And I would say this is where it gets even more revealing, because Pearl's content isn't just provocative, it is strategically inflammatory. She says things on her Twitter like, I love black people. They are so friendly and fun. I just wish they would stop committing crimes. And then adds on top of that, if I get death threats over this, you're just proving my point. Like, that's not commentary. That is algorithmic bait. She is not speaking truth to power. She is triggering rage to drive reach. And I get it, because she has to, because that rage, that attention is all she has left when it comes to her business model. Behind every post, every hot take that you see on the internet, every recycled clip of her reacting to feminists or mocking modern women is one clear motive. There's one thing that's driving all of this, and that is survival. She needs to keep the machine running. She needs the views to stay relevant. She needs the relevance to get paid. And when the views dry up, and they are drying up, you go further, you push harder, you say crazier shit, you bend the truth until it snaps. That is how she ends up saying that 1 in 10 women aged 18 to 24 are on 0F. And she just drops it casually, like it's a fact. But if you Google it for like 5 seconds, the real number is about 2% of women aged 18 to 45. That is a huge gap. And she likely knows that. But saying 2 in 100 doesn't hit as hard as saying 1 in 10. It doesn't spark fear. It doesn't make men feel like civilization is collapsing. So she lies because the lie spreads faster, because the lie sells more. But again, this doesn't make Pearl a bad person. It just shows you how this whole influencer economy actually works. So now that we've taken a look at party number 1, let's go to party number 2, the repost account Ruby-Doo on X. Now, this one is interesting because at first glance, Ruby-Doo does not look like a political actor. It doesn't look like a content creator with a funnel. It doesn't look like a foreign psyop. What it looks like is just another meme page. And in many ways, that's exactly what it is. But if you go to Ruby-Doo's profile, the first thing that jumps out isn't the content, it's the bio. A string of usernames, accounts like Poppy Trumpo, at Wall Street Apes, at John Cena, at Ryan A. Fournier, at AlphaFox78. Now, if you've been on X long enough, you know exactly what this is. It's a meme page network, a loose, decentralized alliance of Ragebait farms that shout each other out, boost each other's followers counts, and help one another sell ad space. But here's the thing most people don't get. In meme page economies like this, the bio is the billboard. That list of usernames that you see on your screen, that is the product. That is the ad space. Because if you're one of the 10,000 people who stumble upon Ruby-Doo's page after watching one of their viral clips, you're going to see the profile. And when you do, you'll see the names that you recognize, or names that you're just generally curious about. For example, you see the account at John Cena on here, and you might even think, wait, is that the real John Cena? What's going on here? But the thing you need to keep in mind is John Cena is not friends with Ruby-Doo, and he's like, oh, bro, can you shout out my page? Like, these celebrities usually have someone on their team paying to be listed on meme page bios like the one you see now, because they know that these pages have high traffic, they know the content is sticky, that the Ragebait gets a lot of views, and they know it gets engagement from the exact demographic they want. Because to influencers like this, they're not looking to try and sell a product. They just need as many followers as they possibly can. And as a result, angry incel young men who watch and follow Ragebait like Ruby-Doo posts are the perfect followers for an account like John Cena. Now again, this is the business model. Meme page creators like Ruby-Doo don't need their own products. They don't need sponsors. They are the ad platform. And the entire model depends on one thing: volume. Volume of views, volume of outrage, volume of misery. Because the more emotionally triggering their posts are, the more traffic they drive. And the more traffic they drive, the more valuable their account becomes for shoutouts and placements in that little strip of monetizable real estate, the bio. Now, think about what that means. If their entire income comes from eyeballs, and the fastest way to get eyeballs is by posting Ragebait, then what incentive do they have to post anything true or anything useful or anything even remotely healthy? The answer to that is zero. There is zero motivation for them to do that. In fact, the more broken and divided and hopeless you feel, the better their business performs, because it means that you are even more likely to engage with their content. So when Ruby-Doo reposts a clip from someone like Pearl Davis, whether they agree with her or not doesn't matter. Whether the data is real or not that Pearl is talking about doesn't matter. Whether the country is actually falling apart doesn't matter. Because that belief, that feeling, that click, that Ragebait comment or quote tweet, that is money in their bank. And just like that, your emotional reaction becomes their monetization engine. You feel powerless. You make a buck, and they do it again tomorrow and the next day and the next. And here's the most important part. This isn't about politics even. This is not a Republican page. It's not even a red pill page. It's a page that figured out the emotional economy of collapse and learned how to sell misery in bulk. And what's wild is that these accounts often get more reach than newsrooms, politicians, or institutions. They don't have to verify anything. They don't have to fact check. They don't even have to care. They just have to be fast, reactive, and ruthless, which is how we end up here in a space where a random repost account with no face, no accountability, and no messaging of its own is shaping the political and emotional reality of millions of people just by choosing which clips to upload. And I have a special type of expertise when it comes to this, because this is exactly how I built Anti-Prophet. This is why I say that this is not a conspiracy. This is a business model, and it works because we let it work. Because in an unregulated information economy where no one verifies identity, where no one tracks incentive structures, and where free speech means no accountability, the only source of power left is attention. And the only question left is, where are you choosing to spend yours? And what does your choice on where you spend your attention say about you as a person? Let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I went through what I can only describe as the collapse of everything in my life. Not just a painful divorce, which would have been enough on its own, but a full-scale implosion. I lost my job to COVID. My two best friends literally disappeared from my life. And 18 months before that, my father had passed away. I ended up losing my dog. And at 29 years old, I ended up sleeping in my mother's basement surrounded by the ruins of a life I thought I had figured out, when nothing of the sort was actually the case. That is when I found red pill content, or more accurately, that's when the algorithm sent it my way. And in that moment, it didn't feel like poison. It felt like the truth. Here were these men on camera speaking with absolute certainty, saying things like, don't let women walk all over you, be the leader, take back control, and coming out of a marriage that had left me psychologically shredded. Those words hit. They felt like armor. So I kept watching. I moved from general red pill advice into more extreme territory. For example, I found myself listening to guys like Coach Greg Adams, who is a guy who talked a lot about the men going their own way movement. And at some point, something in me woke up. I remember thinking, okay, this is starting to get a little bit weird. This is starting to get very cringe. So I pulled back, or at least I thought I did. And by the time I started Anti-Prophet a few years later, I genuinely believed that I had distanced myself from red pill ideology. I even made content against red pill. I thought I'd deconstructed it, exposed it, outgrown it. But the truth was, I hadn't. Because here's the thing that no one tells you. When you consume something during a time of crisis, it doesn't just sit on the surface. It gets inside of you. It roots itself. It attaches to your insecurities like a parasite and camouflages itself as your own voice. Even years later, in my current relationship, one that's healthier, more secure, and light years away from where I was in 2020, I've had moments I am not proud of. Fights that shouldn't have happened with my partner. Emotional walls that I didn't even know were still up. Patterns of control and detachment that I had thought I had left behind. And when I trace them back, I can see the fingerprints, not of my ex, not of my trauma, but of the content I fed myself when I was at my lowest. And that right there is what scares me the most. Because after criticizing red pill content publicly, consistently, loudly, some of it still stuck. Not because I believed it anymore, but because I had consumed so much of it at a time when I wasn't just vulnerable, I was wide open. And this is the part most people miss. The algorithm isn't just showing you what's popular. It's showing you what it knows you will watch, what you'll engage with when you're anxious, what you'll scroll towards when you're depressed, what you'll obsess over when your life is unraveling. It doesn't need to change your mind. It just needs to hold your attention. And when it knows that your pain responds to anger, to blame, to certainty that women are to blame for all the problems in the world, it will serve you that cocktail on repeat until it becomes your worldview. Even if you think you're watching critically, even if you think you're above it. And that's the terrifying part. And again, this is not a conspiracy. This is simply a business model. And if you think that you are immune to it just because you're smart or self-aware, I promise you, I did too. Our algorithms always tell us something about ourselves. They always act as a mirror to our subconscious. So the question is, what does your algorithm say about you and your subconscious? Do you like what you see when you look into its mirror? That right there is the question to ask. And if you want to take this question even deeper to see just how far down the rabbit hole goes, then click on this video right here.